down, and you won't get your violent drum thing. So Peter Gabriel banned cymbals from that album so that the drums could do their violent sound, and there was nothing long and sustained to stop that happening. We've gotten off the Beatle track. The
old Muse Under thing.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But down the darkest dungeons. But then it kind of, obviously, things move along, and then you stop touring. You start working on a more sort of. As you're still touring.
Well, we were touring forever. I mean, this is one that's. It's not difficult for me to talk about because I think by now most people know why I stopped touring. The simple fact was I was absolutely being killed on tour. We were touring if we weren't writing and rehearsing and recording an album, we were touring. And you have to be young, which we were, you have to be like an athlete. I lost 5 pounds of sweat every night. And you just can't keep doing this. And then all day you're either traveling or you're doing radio or TV or you're doing interviews with people. And it's killing. You long for the hour and a half, hour and 3/4 when you get on stage and you can relax. Yes. But because otherwise you're stuck in a little private aircraft somewhere, or you're in a TV studio, and it was always Muggins who they wanted to talk to because he's got the gift of the gab, you see. So do you want to talk to the drummer? No, we don't want to talk to the drummer. How about the guitar? No, we want him, the specky one. He's the one with all the chat, So it was Muggins, so they'd all go off with their cameras, we're in whatever lovely town it was, in whatever lovely country it was around the world. We'll see you at soundcheck, Andy. Oh, okay. And so somebody had to do all the interviews and the TV and everything, And you get to doing the gig at night, and you're absolutely shattered for a start. But that thing of there was something very rotten in the state of Denmark, I tell you, because in 5 years of touring, we never saw a penny, and this was corrupt management. I'm pretty sure he's not in here tonight, so I can let the bastard have it. Now, our original manager was a fella called Ian Reid. I always used to joke that the G was silent. He came from, he was very awfully upper class. He was sort of terribly, sort of like this, He went to, what's the Sandhurst where they train all the officers?
Oh, Sandhurst, yeah.
Sandhurst, yeah.
Sandhurst.
He went AWOL. Oh, awful shower. I didn't want to hang, I went AWOL. So he was all these sort of people. And we fell for and people are still falling for it now, every day of the week, is the old production company scam. And I know people are still falling for it because my daughter's been, Holly, who's got a little quasi-musical. His name rings a bell. Oh God, the old ones are the oldest. And where was I? And this manager had he had a very, very expensive music business lawyer. As opposed to us, we had a local fellow that was used to doing farm disputes. I'm not joking. He was a lovely bloke. But halfway through him helping us with our contract, which was like, just like written in another language. I never knew what perpetuity meant. I thought it was a colour. Red and yellow and perpetuity. Well, we had this. We went to this fella. Can you make some sense of this? And this chap, honestly, about halfway through the proceedings, he said, "Well, I don't think I can really. I'm used to doing disputes about farmers and their boundaries. We'll see what you can do with that." But we got stung with the production company scam. The production company scam works like this. Somebody sees a group or artist, whatever, a musician, says, they're good, I think we could get them a career, and they could make me lots of money. So what they do is they go to a record company and say, hey, I've got this group, XTC, they're going to be good, I can see that. do you want to sign them through me? So what they do is they sign you to their production company. The manager signs you. He then goes to the record company, and the record company signs the production company that's got you.
Yeah.
So any advances, these are big sums of money which a record company will loan you to make an album on the condition that they own it. Yeah, it's like a mortgage. Imagine a mortgage where you pay off your mortgage and the company that loans you the money then owns the house. That's how the record company works. That's the record industry. So we were stung with this, and you know, he said, well, you sign to me and I'll buy you a guitar. You know, we didn't know it was our money he was loaning. Yeah. But yeah, we fell for it. And it happens now, you know, it happens. If you, my daughter, some years ago, Holly, queued up to go to one of these Britain's Got Idols. Britain's Got Idols. Britain's Really Idols. Yeah. And she said in the queue outside they were bringing out sheaths of contracts, giving them, you know, sign this or you won't get through the door. Wow. And she said she had a quick read, and it was like every single note that's going to come out of your mouth or out of your trousers tonight is owned by us forever and more. And she said she didn't even get down to the dense small print, but basically that's to get you into this sort of pop idol type thing.
They got you by the balls for you.
Really, yeah. Before you've even got them out, they're applying the clamps.
I paid good money for that,
You're not a Tory MP.
I think you're becoming one. That seems to be all the money.
I'll buy the oranges.
There we go.
Oranges and Lemons was an album title, not the preference of a Tory MP.
Swinging from the chandeliers and always someone. It's not.
Who was the fella they discovered with the orange?
Stephen
What's his name?
Stephen Milligan.
Yeah. That's a really obscure bit.
He's also called Stephen Milligan. He comes
right, go on. You're keeping track. You're
keeping track.
sensible.
Well, basically,
Actually, I'm going to do a Mike Love. And I'm going to the Beach Boys. You know when they did the 50 years of.
Oh yeah.
You know, the fella that Jeff Foskett, who was doing. Any Beach Boys fans around?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Jeff Foskett got in touch with me. He said, "Come and see us at the Albert Hall." So me and my lovely wife Erica, who's hiding here. Wave! We went to see the Beach Boys. You know, do their thing. Yeah, and you can tell how passionate that Mike Love was. Because they're on stage and they're doing the bit about poor Dennis, you know, and then they've got the film footage and the stills of Dennis behind them, you know, and Mike Love stood on stage every couple of minutes. He's got Mike Haight on the other hand. I'm here all week. Spelled W-E-A-K. So go on, you're keeping track.
Yeah, no, it's basically about the sound from the big drummy, guitar-y, wiry sound. It starts becoming more acoustic and more 12-stringy.
Yes, it does.
As the touring years.
Yes, well, while we were doing, I knew I wanted to stop touring, but even by the time that we got to English Settlement, I took each one of the band aside and said, look, do you mind if we don't tour this album? Could I have some time off, do you think? You know, oh, what's the matter with your party? You'll be fine. Oh, then take another one aside. You ever thought about just being a recording band and not actually, you know, having a break from all this tour? Oh, what are you talking about, man? You know, we got 70 dates in the States lined up. Come on. I said, nobody was listening to me. The management wouldn't listen to me. The record company wouldn't listen to me. And I thought, I've got to get off this treadmill. I didn't like performing. I mean, I've been wound up for weeks about even doing this. You know, I'm a very private person, but it was a case of nobody was listening to me, and I was killing myself on tour, and they still wanted albums. My serious 2 minutes now. From the age of 13 up until 26, I was addicted to Valium. My mother had a lot of mental health problems, and it was a case of it was the 60s, so all the kids upset by his mum being bonkers stick him on Valium, which they did. They chucked him out like sweets. Yeah, like sweets. And I didn't know I was addicted. I just knew I had to take this stuff every day, and it didn't seem to do anything to me. While we were on tour, we were in Los Angeles in a particularly scummy hotel called the... It'll come.
Not the Lighthouse?
No, anyway. It was the sort of hotel, it would have been improved if you'd have wrecked the rooms. That's better. I like the TV lodged in the window. But my wife at the time thought so naive. She went and tipped away this big industrial tub of Valium I had in the toilet, flushed them all away. I'd been out after the gig drinking with some people, came back, where's my Valium? I need my Valium, I'm halfway through a tour, you stupid bitch, where's my Valium? And she said, you don't need it, it doesn't do anything to it. Oh, she's right, it doesn't do anything to me. I don't need Valium, yeah, she's right. And then over the next couple of years, my brain melted. Because coming off of Valium, if you've been on it for a long time, and they all tell me this, it's tougher than heroin. And so I'm on stage thinking, what's my name? What is my bloody name? I know what the next song in a set is. What is my name? And then I'd do things like I'd ring down the reception of the hotel we were in and say, can you tell me who's in room 125, please? Mr. Partridge, thank you. I'm Mr. Partridge, right. So, and I was getting, memory problems. I was getting, like agoraphobia type things. Couldn't leave the house, couldn't leave the room I was in. So it was really fucking me up regally. And that is not the way to get off a drug. But what happened is I was starting to get stage fright, which is panic attacks. I had no concept of what a panic attack. I don't know if anyone in here has ever had a panic attack. If you've ever had a panic attack, you just think you're dying, and you don't know what's going on with the world. And the only place I'd started to get them, along with dear old Larry, dear Lala, in his 50s he got them and gave up his stage career. Yes, dear Larry. And the only place I was getting them was not out in the street or anything, it was bloody well on the stage. It was like the safest place. They're all loving you. You're having a great time. You're deafening yourself. But you're having a lovely time, and it's all fab. But I started to get panic attacks. I had no concept of what they were, and my body just said, "I'm going to close you down," which it did. It closed me down mentally and physically. I remember one gig we did. I was late for the gig because I couldn't work my legs. I was laid on the bed. I could reach the phone, but I couldn't work anything from one waist downwards. Wow. And it was just, I couldn't swing them off the bed to walk to get in the bus to go to the show. So don't mess with Valium, folks. Okay, I'm back on to frivolous now. Off the serious. We're done with the serious.
Yeah, but but as soon as you stop...
what is the time? I didn't put my mic on. Oh, okay, that's all right.
We'll wind down a bit. It's the whole... but suddenly, as soon as you stop touring, the records... The sound
they did,
expand almost immediately.
Absolutely,
yeah. A little bit,
you've got time. You're not, you're not in grabbing bits of hotel notepaper and scribbling a few lines as you're running to get on the bus, or you're not, writing on the back of your hand in a van, or you've got time to sit down and think, what do I want to write about? And I think the songs before we stopped touring were like, I think of them as kind of, they were monochrome, and then they went like duotone. They sort of became maybe blue and red. And then when it was like, no, you bastards, I'm not touring anymore because you won't give me a break. We're not seeing any money for our touring. I'm going to write better songs, and we're going to become much better from now. Suddenly, it was like a mental key had got, released and opened. Wow, it all came out, all the colours. We can use. Why can't we use instruments that we don't play in the band? Why can't other people play them? What's wrong with the French horn, Mrs.? What's wrong with the British one? What's wrong with the instruments that we'll get session players in? Everybody else does. Why are we being so precious? Why does it have to be one guitar on the right side of the stereo, one guitar on the left side of the stereo, the bass in the middle? You know, it's why can't we have a harmonium, a euphonium, a ukulele, a mellotron? A mellotron. Oh man, I love a mellotron. Oh. It's the sound of Strawberry Fields Forever, isn't it? The most melotronic sound to me is the flutes. Oh, you know, when you come home from school as a kid and you turn on your little radio rentals box on the wall because your parents were too mean to buy an actual standalone radio. So you had piped-in radio. You reach up, you turn it on, and there's the intro of Strawberry Fields. You've not heard it, you know. Your mum's saying, "Oh, they've gone all weird, they've got moustaches, you won't like them." I heard it earlier, it's something about a strawberry. Oh, you bugger bum, you heard it before I did. You know, you turn it on and you can hear this. But what is that sound? You know, it's actually, if someone told you, well, it was probably recorded in the late 40s and it's an American session musician going, onto a piece of tape for 8 seconds, and then you have this big thing that looks like a cocktail cabinet, and you press a key, and then there's a kind of Heath Robinson thing, and it pulls this piece of tape over a head, so you hear the sound of that session musician going for 8 seconds, and then he has a go at the C sharp, you know, and the mellotron. The beauty of mellotrons is they're never in tune. Never in tune, and they're fantastic. They're magical. They're like the sound of your dreams. You know that all the great mellotronic records. You know the Moody Blues early stuff, and some of the Beatles stuff, and who else was King Crimson, the Zombies, King Crimson. Yeah. Well, it sounds like somebody's. It's like a keyboard that you lean on it, and a dream is coming out. And that's the only way I can describe it. Purple fog it's like you imagine leaning on the keys of a keyboard, a completely blank, and you're leaning on these keys, and this sort of purple fog is exuding out of it. Wow, it's purple fog, and I can hear it. It's quite incredible.
Well, there were a band in the early 70s.
Well, purple fog.
Their dry ice machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
until they sold the mellotron.
It's no good. The DX7 didn't cut it, did it? It was the. Well, that was the thing. I mean, it was against the grain for you guys to be using mellotrons.
Well, we bought the mellotron. Well, Dave said, "Look, fellas, we can't have a mellotron." He's like, "Yeah, of course we have." Ah! So Dave was dispatched to buy a mellotron for the Mummer album, and you can hear it all over things like Human Alchemy. The intro is just a chord held down, and then you get 3 choices of sound. And I think that particular batch of tapes, which you slide in like a big wooden frame, again, not got enough hands, but you slide in this it's almost like, imagine a couple of sections of the bookshelf there, and you slide this big wooden frame in with the strips of tape, 8 seconds of tape on it. And then you get 3 choices, because it's the old American 3-track tape system. The one that puzzled the shit out of George Martin when he had to record the Beatles at Hollywood Bowl, and he had a 3-track recorder. And we were used to the luxury of either 2 or 4. 3? But so the American. So you had 3 sounds with the mellotron, and Dave's holding this chord down on. If you know Human Alchemy, it's got this, and I shan't try and do the sound. Well, I could if you like, but and he's holding this chord down and just flicking through the selection. And I think one of the selections was a choir, a mixed choir, men and women. And then it's something like strings and then brass or something, and it's just going. And people say, "How'd you get that sound?" But it's just, let's see what sounds we've got on the tape, you know. But it's a wonderful. And in fact, David Lord in the corner there, who recorded the intro of All You Pretty Girls on Big Express, is the sound of mellotron piped out through a tiny speaker, a weeny little thing about this size, you know, a little mini widgy thing, and such was the desire to screw up the sound that we had then. I don't know if you remember this, David. We put the speaker at the bottom of a bucket, a metal bucket, and then if that wasn't odd enough, so it's a mellotron, which is a sample of or whatever, tape it coming out of this tiny little distorted matchbox-sized speaker at the bottom of a fire bucket.
Yeah.
We then took the microphone and put a kitchen roll centre. Then it sounded all nasal. It sounded all like that. So that was it. So it's a mellotron. The choir at the start. That weird. The choir that sounds like it's in a fire bucket, coming out of a tiny speaker down a kitchen roll is.
By the way, it might be a nice time to move to audience questions.
Oh yes. So we can on for
That's out 4.
Okay, so so we're not going to get the entire history.
Not the
thing.
entire. Not the Vernon Allen story, but we'll let that to.
Well, we can do the Vernon Allen story just really quickly.
Yes, do it really quickly.
I'll do this very quickly. While we were doing the first Dukes, 25 o'clock, we were doing it in a little studio near Hereford, and John Leckie said, look, we've got to have a Hammond organ because we've got to have the Leslie cabinet, which is a rotary speaker, because everything's got to go through the rotary speakers because it sounds so psycho-fucking-delic. So the only person that he knew that had the Hammond organ with the rotary Leslie cabinet was the organist of Mott the Hoople, Vernon Allen. And so he rang up Vernon Allen, and Vernon Allen's, whatever we agreed to pay him. He said, right, I'll be over, me and me dad will bring it in the van. So my terrible Welsh accent. But they brought this lovely Hammond organ, and John Leckie said, wait till it goes, and then we'll have the back off that, and then we'll plug the mic in, and we'll plug the guitar out, so we can get this rotary speaker, And he went, bye Vernon, cheers mate, we'll be finished with it by 10 o'clock tonight. All right, thanks ever so much, get your dad a drink with it, yeah, cheers man. Has he got, yeah, I think so, yeah. Right, so John Leckie went and got a screwdriver, and we're on our knees, if we attach the mic cable to this, because there was a little amp in the back of it, and you can use this speaker, everything sounds right black, And we're on our knees with a screwdriver and probably a soldering iron as well. He said, thank God he's gone. And then suddenly, what the bloody are you doing? We looked up really guilty. And there's Vernon Allen and his dad looking round the door. And what the bloody fuck are you doing to my keyboard? And then John, it's a Mr. sort of calming all that. Well, look, Vernon, we're just getting access to these so we can plug it. No, you're fucking not. Get that back. Dad, can you see what they're doing? And I'm coming back in half an hour to get this. So it was like, Christ, what other keyboard bits have we got to do? What have we got to do? Bolt for the ministry. Quick! So we banged out all the Hammond organ stuff we had to do really quickly. And that's my Vernon Allen.
Yes, if we just repeat the question, actually. Has anyone got a question, by the way?
Yeah, we're throwing it over there. Look, Mr. Question. Cue for question. Come up. Do you want to be the roving reporter? Go on, then. Get your deal story.
Firstly, thanks so much for those wonderful Blu-ray reissues you're working on now. They're just absolutely amazing.
We're doing our best, yeah. If Universal can find, can you believe it? Seriously, people say, what? You can't find the master tapes. It's the one thing you want the record label to do is the one job they've got to do is preserve your recorded works. What else does a record company do? But, yeah, go on, carry on.
Basically, the question was, you were pretty much at civil war with Virgin for a number of years.
Yes.
How have you now got yourself in a position that you're actually being able to release your own stuff? You wanted all that time ago?
We have to pay a massive override to Universal to lease temporarily our own recordings back from them.
Jeez.
So we don't own them. Universal still own them. Because Virgin was bought by EMI, little fish or sizable fish, even bigger fish, gigantic fish. Universal came and ate the pair of them. So Universal own everything now, and because we were all stupid yokel naive idiots, when we signed everything away to perpetuity. I don't know what it means either, but it's something to do with a fence between farms. So we signed everything so Universal own the tapes. And I actually, a few years ago, somebody said to me, "Oh, I used to work for EMI, and one day they sent me to their tape library." I said, "Well, air conditioned. You imagine a lovely big room like in all these air conditioned shelves and like sliding shelf units and all that." He said, "No, it was a disused railway tunnel that they put a load of hardboard up one end of a door." And he said there was just Dexian shelves and there's all damp dripping from in there. And he said there were literally reels of tape unwound rolling around where they rolled around on the floor. Nobody had picked them up and put them back. So this is how record companies value their what they conned out of you.
Oh, thanks very much. You can keep them going. We really appreciate them.
Yeah, well, hopefully there'll be some. Just a little. I mean, it's sort of an aside to that. I was anticipating somebody saying, "When are you going to do a solo album?" So I'm going to anticipate this and answer them. The last 10 years, I've touched on writing for other people, and I've got so many songs. I think it's stupid of me to leave them rotting on the shelf. So I should put them out, and I think there are between 4 to 6 volumes of unheard material. So this sort of constitutes a new album in a way, and I think I heard a couple of days ago that Colin Moulding is working on an EP.
Oh, right.
No way.
And Stu Rowe, my engineer producer friend, is going to mix it apparently. And Dave's doing all sorts of things with Big Fish Training, Tin Spirits, and all that. So yeah, keeps his hand in. So there'll be all sorts of things. So yeah. Any more? Another question?
This will be the only question we have because we've really run out of time.
Seriously.
So make it a good one, whoever it is.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that
Barney.
Yeah,
there we go.
Pass the baton, there we go.
I'm the father of this very young girl.
Andy, it's less of a question than an observation that I'd like your views on, really. When you were talking...
to get out of the music industry straight away.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Without being there. When you mentioned earlier on about you stopped touring and concentrated on being a band in the studio, I mean, it's essentially what the Beatles did. Nobody ever gave the Beatles shit for not touring again.
No,
but you got loads.
Or
what?
Kate Bush.
Yes.
Kate Bush never received any shit for doing, what did
Yeah.
she do, something like 11 gigs in her entire career? Nobody said, "Come on, Kate, what's it, you lazy git, get out there." I used to get this all the time. Journalists would turn up, "What's the matter with you, get out there." No, Kate Bush, it's a mystery why she never toured. Some people had careers that they never toured ever. Enya. I don't think Enya ever did a tour.
That's okay, though.
Was a fucking billionaire. Never stepped on the stage.
Wasn't she in
Steely
Planet?
Dan had 20-something years,
She
but
wasn't Planet.
they decided to take a break, So it can
You
be
seem to
done.
just forever get it in the neck. For
I get it forever.
why aren't you on stage?
Exactly. I get it constantly. And, well, it's the Swindon thing, isn't it? He's from Swindon, kicking. We were actually good live. Who said that?
You were superb, right?
We were good live. The thing was, when you're inside the bubble, you see, personally, you have one good gig, and then personally, someone else has a good gig, but they don't make any errors, and they're relaxed. I'm doing great tonight, and the sound's good. So we figured that one gig in 10 was a real killer for everybody. As in, the audience were good, the sound was good on stage, all 4 members of the band were having individual good nights. You weren't getting too much stuff thrown at you, you weren't breaking strings. So we figured out it was about 1 in 10. So 1 in 10 gigs was really, really happening. But you sort of individually had a good gig now and again, you know.
I
But
think
the
you'd say the
audience-
percentage was higher than that. I mean,
Well,
you,
yeah.
if you're in
you
the
were,
bubble,
you were
you
a
know.
stonking live band.
No, thank you.
He's right. Pass the baton.
So just a little bit of housekeeping before we all go to the pub and get drunk or whatever we're going to do tonight. If, when we're standing up, we could just fold our chairs and pop them on the side. That'll be it really. And if anyone's got books, just line up that way and we're going to be signing there. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much, Andy. Big round of applause.